Assumptions from The Simpsons that actually came true. Over the course of 31 seasons and 677 episodes, The Simpsons gave some 153,149 jokes, granted or taken a few thousand. When the TV show was on the air for almost 3 decades, like The Simpsons, you would expect to see a few examples of life imitating art. However, when it comes to the lengthy animated Fox hit, the show doesn't just encourage the future. A lot of times are correctly predicted. In real life, more than a few of these punchlines have compensated by turning out to be eerily, or at least semi-prescient. Is The Simpsons really capable of talking about the future and mine it for laughter, or is it just coincidence?
Coincidence? I think not!
Before we go any further, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and smash that like button for more quality videos you can't certainly get from others. We compile videos and do the research just for you. Without further ado, here are the assumptions from The Simpsons that actually came true, made eerily accurate predictions about the future. The 2020 Experience. Season 4, Episode 21, Marge in Chains. If 2020 was a bingo card, The Simpsons would already have at least 2 squares ticked off. In the almost 30-year-old episode, Marge in Chains not only does the unprecedented flu sweep through Springfield, but when the locals begin rioting to demand a cure for the epidemic, a swarm of killer bees that could be compared to the murder hornets that have recently struck the US suddenly came true. On the other hand, episode co-writer Bill Oakley told The Hollywood Reporter in March that any similarities the storyline appears to invite to coronavirus are merely coincidental. There are very few cases where The Simpsons have predicted something, he said. It's mostly just a coincidence because the series are so old that history repeats itself. Many of these episodes are based on stuff that happened in the 60s, 70s, or 80s that we've already heard about. Drogon's fiery rampage on Game of Thrones. Season 29, Episode 1, The Simpsons. In the 2017 show, named The Simpsons, Homer, Marge, and the rest of the Simpsons gang found themselves in the kingdom of Springfieldia, an alternative fantasy world that parodied several aspects of life at the Game of Thrones in Westeros. There was also a fire-breathing dragon that burned down the village of Simpsons, just as Drogon ended up doing to King's Landing in the tumultuous episode of Game of Thrones, The Bells. Team USA's Olympic curling win. Season 21, Episode 12, Boy Meets Curl. In one of the show's many international trips, Homer and Marge get drafted into the US curling team for the 2010 Winter Olympics. Given the odds that they had against them, they were able to sweep Sweden and win the gold medal. It took 8 years for this stone to hit its goal, as the recent Pyeongchang Winter Olympics in 2018 had the same matchup and outcome. Team USA's men's curling team beat Sweden in a stunning turmoil at the 2018 Olympics that introduced another Simpsons storyline to life, mirroring events from the 2010 episode in which Marge and Homer made it to the US mixed double curling team. The Americans came from behind in the February 25 matchup with Sweden to take gold at the Pyeongchang Winter Games. Disney's Fox Takeover. Season 10, Episode 5. When you dish upon a star after a trip to Springfield, director Ron Howard produces a script penned by Homer to 20th Century Fox creator Brian Glazer. At the beginning of the scene, a sign can be seen in the Fox studio that shows that the company is now Walt Disney Co. Cut to almost 20 years later, and this deal is finally underway with the announcement that Disney has reached an agreement to buy $66.1 billion worth of Fox on December 14, 2017. The environment shot at the end of the iconic When You Dish Upon a Star shows the 20th Century Fox logo with a division of Walt Disney Co. below it. While they were quick to poke fun at their parent company, the show definitely did not expect Fox to sell to the Walt Disney Co. in July 2018, taking Homer Simpson and Mickey Mouse to the same building. Lady Gaga's halftime show, Season 23, Episode 22. Lisa Goes Gaga. Looked at as one of the worst episodes of the show so far, Lisa Goes Gaga featured an eponymous pop star visiting Springfield and supporting Lisa's self-esteem problems. When Gaga appeared at the 2017 Super Bowl halftime show, many noted that her wire-based, spark-charged stunt bore an eerie resemblance to one of her many outfits during the episode. Almost 5 years before Lady Gaga came down from the roof of Houston's NRG Stadium for a halftime Super Bowl live broadcast, her Simpsons doppelganger performed a song for the people of Springfield while floating in the air. The two mother monsters also wore matching silver sets for their shows. President Donald Trump, Season 11, Episode 17, Bart to the Future. When Bart flashes forward into adulthood, viewers discover that not only does Lisa become president, but heralds the quite a budget crunch of her predecessor, Donald Trump. Is the nation broken? In one scene, she asks her helpers, how can it be? At the time, the real Trump presidency was only 16 years away. However, in a 2016 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, writer Dan Greaney clarified that the joke was intended as a warning to the nation. It just seemed like the last logical stop before it hit the bottom, he said. It was set because it was aligned with the vision of America going wild. The Nobel Prize, Season 22, Episode 1, Elementary School Musical. Bengt Holmstrom may not have won the Nobel Prize in Economics until 2016, but one of the Simpsons characters have been betting on him 6 years ago. In a Season 22 premiere scene in which Martin keeps a scorecard showing his Nobel Prize betting pool with Lisa, Milhouse, and Database, the MIT professor is clearly identified in one of Milhouse's squares. Greece's debt default was predicted last 2012 and came true in 2015, specifically on Season 23, Episode 10, Politically Inept with Homer Simpson. When Homer performs as a guest analyst on Headbutt's cable news program, a ticker runs across the bottom of the screen that reads, Europe is putting Greece on eBay. Of course, it was 3 years before Greece has become the first developing country to default on the International Monetary Fund and plunge the country deeper into economic turmoil. FIFA's corruption scandal, Season 25, Episode 16. You don't have to live like a referee. The Simpsons take on the World Cup entails Homer being introduced into the world of refereeing, primarily due to the lack of major misconduct on the part of FIFA. While he gets the temptation, he continues to call the big game a fair one, leading Germany to win the World Cup. The series had a 1-2 stroke recognition. Second, Germany ended up winning the title that same year. But what happened in 2015 was not as happy, as FIFA workers were subjected to a series of arrests of charges of bribery, fraud, and money laundering. America's Ebola Outbreak, Season 9, Episode 3, Lisa's Sacks. This installment saw Marge's offer to read the troubled Bart's book Curious George and Ebola virus. This moment was widely shared during the 2014 US Ebola epidemic, when YouTube user The Controversy 7 made a video detailing the hypothesis of the Simpsons' predictive patterns. In Season 9, Episode 3, Simpsons predicted the Ebola outbreak 14 years ago. In the episode, Marge advises the sick Bart to read a book called Curious George and Ebola virus. The West African Ebola virus outbreak was one of the worst epidemics in the history of Africa and resulted in the deaths of thousands of people. NSA Spying Scandal, The Simpsons Movie. Lisa's Wedding was the show's first foray into the future, with several technology jokes in tow that ended up coming to fruition. For example, a botched wedding proposal from Lisa's boyfriend Hugh prompts him to call an audible by talking into his watch. In 2013, smartwatches with voice recognition first came out. saving relationships around the world. When the Simpsons family is forced to hide behind their escape from the EPA biodome enclosing Springfield, the NSA locates Marge and the children by listening to one of their conversations. However, it wasn't until 6 years after the Simpsons movie that reached the theaters that Edward Snowden first blew a whistle on the government's mass monitoring of American phones and internet data. And last but not the least, smartwatches. Season 6, Episode 19, Lisa's Wedding. When Lisa encounters a fortune teller at the Renaissance Fair, the spectators will be transported 15 years into the future in 2010, a time when the communication technology of the wristwatch remains. The future of Simpsons was a bit ahead of its time. Current voice recognition-enabled smartwatches were not rolled out until 2014. You like this video? Tell us in the comment section down below. We would like to know more from you. Before we end this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up so we can upload related videos.